I'm just here tonight alone in my basement with my friend Edgar. I thought we could show you a magic trick. What do you think, Edgar? Would you like that? Perfect. Edgar, would you mind just picking a card? Any card at all? Oh, this one right here? Oh, no, I'm sorry. This one. This one, okay. Perfect. Edgar, if you would, just remember that card. Don't forget it. Okay, and everybody at home as well, if you would, just remember the card. Hopefully you can see that there. Now, Edgar, we're going to lose your card somewhere in the middle of the deck with a few cuts here. That way I don't know where it is. And we're even going to isolate the pack on the back of my hand so that I can't do anything to manipulate the cards. Well, I can't, but maybe something a little darker can. Wait. It's already begun. Look. They move. Did you see, Edgar? Watch. Keep going. Oh, there we go. Leaving one card, and one card only sticking out. Oh, it's still going. There we go. Edgar, was that your card? The 7 of Hearts? And that is the Haunted Deck. Ooh. Now, the Haunted Deck was originally published by Charles T. Jordan as the pack that cuts itself, and then later popularized by Al Baker. And Al Baker released a version that was a gimmick deck, where at least half the deck could not be examined. Later versions eventually allowed you to do it with different setups that could be done with a normal deck, whether that involved invisible thread or a secret hidden thread, or even electronic devices within the deck itself. And now the one that this one actually was kind of inspired by was by the late great Eugene Berger. Now, he passed away recently, but his version was done with a normal deck of cards. And that's kind of where I started actually with this. And eventually I moved on to a whole bunch of myriad of ideas of different rigs, including, across the back and down my sleeves and really ridiculous, unnecessary things. So eventually I settled on this method, and it uses a gimmick that can be found at any magic shop for under $10. In fact, you can even find it at some novelty shops and joke shops and even some dollar stores. I'm going to show you what that is and where to get it in just a second, but before we do, if you like what you're seeing, hit that like button and subscribe, and make sure to hit that notification bell. That way you don't miss anything, okay? We've got tips, tricks, and tutorials, new videos every Wednesday, okay? Extra spooky. Okay, that's not spooky at all. All right, now like I said, we're going to go show you what that gimmick is and where to get it. Ready? Let's go. All right, we're back, and here it is. This is a dollar snatcher. It is essentially a cheap little reel that you can just hold in your hand or in your pocket. Now, these usually come with a sort of rubbery plastic bit here, if you can see that. It's just a little circle with a flat edge, and it's got this, usually comes with a colored side here. This is a little worn off, because this is not the one I just bought. It's one I've had for a bit. But what you do is you can push on that, and that allows you to lock the reel. Now, we're actually not really going to be using this, but it is just something to be aware of, that if you put pressure on that, it will lock the reel. Okay, and then if you release, the reel will pull in. Now, for those not familiar with a dollar snatcher, the way it works is you would usually affix this end with a bit of tape to a dollar bill. I don't happen to have one on me with any tape, so I'm just gonna hook it into the flap here of the box. And then you would put the dollar bill out on a table or something, and then this would be in your hand. And then when somebody reaches for the dollar bill, it gets pulled up into your hand. So that was the original gag, but we're gonna do something a little bit different with it. The prep for this is just to basically keep it in your pocket. Now what I do is I usually just throw it in my pants pocket with my wallet at the beginning of the day, and then I'm set at any point to do a haunted deck with a borrowed deck. So whenever I want to do the routine, I simply go into my pocket and I get the reel and I move it into position. Now there's a few different ways to position the reel to have it ready to go. If you're seated like this, I like to just shove it up into the upper corner of my pants pocket here, that little corner where you can kind of hide something if you're pulling your pants pocket out to show it empty. But I just shove it up in here and pull out the tab. And when you're seated, this is completely hidden and the pressure keeps that tucked away. And you can pull this out and it'll still retract into the reel. Now, alternatively for stand-up, what I'll usually do is I'll pull it out and I will tuck it under my belt, like so, with the tab hanging down. Alternatively, you can actually glue a safety pin onto the back of this and then just pin it inside your pocket that way. That way it's always ready to go, okay? So however you've got it set, once it's there and you've got your deck ready to go, you're going to reach down and pinch the tab between your middle and index fingers. And you're going to allow the thread to run over the middle finger and then between the middle and ring finger. Then you take the deck in dealer's grip, and with your pinky, you're going to pull down 2 to 4 cards, and then open up, and then allow your index finger to open up, allow the tab to flop in, and then just use your fingers to push the tab into the side above those 3 to 4 cards. Okay? And now, just to lock the thread in place so it doesn't accidentally slip out, you're going to casually spread about 10 or so cards over as you ask a volunteer to help you. Could you help me with this trick? And I've also got my finger on top of where that tab is so it won't slip out. But the tension alone is more than enough to hold it in, as you see here. And I'm just going to casually and openly cut those 10 or so cards to the bottom of the deck and then give it an all-around square up, turning it around. So now the tab is actually at this side here, running around the bottom 10 or so cards. I offer to the spectator to select a card, any card at all. And whichever card they select, I'm going to square up the deck like this, take this card out, and then lever the deck up as I show them their card and place it on the bottom of the deck. And then take the deck, fingers on bottom, thumb on top on the long edges. And I can turn and show the rest of the audience here. And then you say, we're going to lose your card in the deck so that I no longer know where it is. You're going to take the deck back into a Biddle-style grip, thumb at the back, fingers at the front, and you're going to do a series of kick cuts, just 2 or 3. The kick cut is fairly straightforward. Your index finger is going to lift up about a quarter to a third of the deck, kick it over, and your thumb of the left hand is going to clip it and take it like this. Then you can do this again. Now, as you can see, the thread being wrapped around the card in the deck doesn't interfere at all here until you want to complete the final cut, in which case you need to get a little bit of extra slack. So you just move slightly to the left as you complete the final cut, centering the selection. So now you've apparently lost the selection of the deck, but at this point, the thread is locked into the top half, loops around your card, and then back out between your middle and ring fingers along the back of your hand to the reel. After commenting of how you lost the card so you no longer know where it is, you say you're going to now isolate the deck so you can no longer control it. To do this, you're going to take again the deck Biddle grip, and the thread running between your middle and index fingers, you're going to curl in your pinky and ring finger, and then allow the thread to rotate around the middle finger, going between the index and middle finger. And then set the pack on the back of your hand. Now at this point, there's enough friction to prevent the thread from starting the animation prematurely. So you can control it by moving your hips away from your hand or your hand away from your body. Now once you've completed the first half of the animation, you can pause, come closer, and allow the thread to retract a little bit more, giving you a little bit more room to then start the second half of the animation, so that you're not just progressively getting further and further away from your body. And there you have it with the card then out of the deck. Now, to clean up, it's actually very simple. You just grab the deck from above, pinky and index finger on either side of the long edges, fingers and thumb at the short edges. And then your hand comes free. You're going to clip it with your index and your pinky, freeing your thumb, allowing the thread to pull out the back. And then the tension will just retract it right in. Now I have found it's a good idea to try and clip it still with this hand so that I can catch it here and then control the retraction instead of letting it snap back and make a loud noise. Okay, that just allows me to soften the retraction and control it as I hand the deck out or put the deck on the table, and this ends completely clean. A few other things to note that I like about this, aside from allowing you to end clean, is that once you're in position and the deck starts to animate, there's no threads up above. So you can show above and below, and you can even wave your hand, and you can wave your hand above and even below to show that there's no threads, and it's still going to animate. So there's no threads connected to the free hand, and because the thread is running under your arm, you don't have to worry as much about lighting like you do with most invisible threads. Okay? And because, like I said, the deck is completely ungimmicked and there's no electronics, at the end, everything is left completely clean. So it's a great bonus to this that you can not only do it with a borrowed deck, but there's nothing to hide at the end. It's just, you're clean. Alright, so anyhow, that is my take on the Haunted deck. Again, I hope you like it. If you do, hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. And hopefully we'll be back again next Wednesday if nothing bad happens down here. Alright, thanks, Edgar.